All right, guys, we are back in our brand new studio because Experience Matter podcast. I am your host, and it's been a while, Jack Hanks. Um, we just moved into our Denver location, and we actually have a real live studio now. And ironically, our first guest is one of my favorite people, and I mean this in the whole industry, Sean Mata. Thanks for coming, bro.
Yeah, of course. I'm glad to be here. Sick office. I'm glad you're in Denver finally.
Yeah, dude. It's we move in and then a hailstorm hits, so it's like whoops.
It's kind of like you planned that. I feel like you planned that.
We paid the weather,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So do we have a lot to talk about? We got like 45 minutes, but first thing I want to talk about, dude, is 4 kids.
7, 6, 3, and now we've got a 11-week-old. 3 girls, 1 boy, and it's chaos, man. But I love it. It's great.
So one thing when I was young and I had my kids, one thing I struggled with was, and I still struggle with actually, is the work-life balance. And it's super important. And I wish some of this, I was always a good dad, not a great dad, because I was always too busy working to fill the money part up and forgot about the emotional part of my kids. And I think your generation, and you in particular, do a much better job with that. Is it so? How do you? It's got to be rough. Like coming up here is rough, right? And like leaving the brand new one too. Yeah. Like, tell me, is there like a discussion with your wife, or how do you guys actually figure that out? Because it's so important now, right?
Yeah, it really is. I think, look, I've got a lot going on. I've got Daly Black, which is, my full-time. I've got Covenant Gym. I've had a gym for 14 years in December.
Wow.
We're still running. It kind of runs itself. It's great. And I've got 6 amazing coaches that handle
cool.
that. And then, of course, we just keep getting blessed with these children.
There's ways around that, Sean, by the way.
Well, we figured that out, and that's been taken care of. So we're good in that department. But, if I'm just truthfully honest, my wife is a saint. I really do feel like my wife was born to be a mother. She's very flexible. She, it's just, hey, I got to go do this, or I'm going to go do this. And, I'm not, funnily enough, I'm not only here to see you guys and see some of my relationships, but we're also, I'm running the Leadville 100 in August. And so tonight, I'm actually driving out there, and we're running half the course. So we're running 50 miles.
Oh my God.
That is probably a little bit more of a battle with my wife. But yeah, over the course of 3 nights, we're going to hit 50 miles. And so, between 2 jobs, kiddos, running, my wife is she's incredible.
That's super important because, I didn't have that as part of my thing. My life was a bit different, but yeah, man. I mean, that work-life balance thing, and I still struggle with it now. And I think I told the story before we came in. Like, for the first time in 30-some years, I went to dinner last night. I left my phone at our place, and it was 2 hours. And weirdly, dude, I thought I'd be anxious and like freaked out and whatever. I barely thought about it, which is weird. I thought I would have more of a odd reaction, and it didn't even occur to me not to worry about it.
Yeah.
I find that odd.
Well, and I think one thing that you do extremely well, Jack, like, look, if I text you, you text me back within 10 minutes. Or if I call you, you answer. Very rarely are you not answering. And if you don't answer, you're calling me back in about 5 minutes. Yeah. But I think, with what we do in our industry, people want answers fast. And I think if you let that build and you don't have that phone at all times, then all of a sudden you get home and you're overwhelmed and you've got 10 missed calls, 20 emails, and that's where it gets overwhelming.
You know the mistake I kind of made? I mean, not the mistake, but I kind of built my career on being available.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you get to the point, though, you're almost too available because I do pick up the call every time. I do return the text every time. And honestly, if I text you back in 5 minutes for 15 or 20, it's still okay. But I set this huge standard for myself. And it's been hard in relationships, man. For the last, I've been single. I just got remarried a couple of years ago, but before that, and I'm working on it daily. Not to be, I want to be available, but not overly available, because there's that fine line there.
Yep.
And that has been my kryptonite forever.
Well, and I think that, yeah, I totally hear you. I think one thing, just being at Daly and Black, and John Black's one of my best friends in the world, and
we're neighbors in Cabo. So.
And you are neighbors, so we'll be neighbors this summer, hopefully. But one thing that he always says is, this is a service business, and we're in the service industry, and we are here to serve others. And look, you jump on a call. I was on a call yesterday with a fire loss, and this woman's been out of her home for 3 or 4 months, and she just has no direction. She has no idea what to do. Again, these folks see this maybe once, maybe twice in their entire life, and so it's just, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? Because they've been fooled by the marketing of the carrier and whatever. But at the same time, like, we are here to provide a service, and we have to be available. So, if I miss a call, one thing that I do is I immediately text and I say, hey, we're going to get back to you at this amount, at this time period. So,
Interesting point you brought up. I think this industry, myself, is probably the leader of this, struggling with empathy. Because, dude, I roll into a hurricane or a fire or whatever, and I go to adjuster, money-making, business entrepreneur mode, right? So I try to go and it's a business, right? We want to sign a claim, we want to service the claim, we want to get them paid, we want to take our fee, we want to put the right vendors in place, but it's very methodical what we do. And I got a call 2 days ago. Lightning struck a home in Houston, by the way. Call me, hey, man, blah, blah, blah. Got him signed up. Dude's in Disneyland with his family, and his house is on fire. And I immediately go into, so within 5 minutes, I had the contract done, I had the restoration guy on the way, and I got the hygienist going. And I'm like, that's good, but man, I just kick into mode that probably, and oddly, I'd never talked to that dude. It was all via text. My office talked to him. And I'm thinking, I should probably do better with that.
Yeah, I think that's one thing that I've learned. Again, I'm newer in the industry, been in here for about 4 years at this point. And, in the beginning, it was just like, tell me your story. And then again, you go into this 2 or 3 years and it's like, it's a similar story, right? And that's where the empathy comes back. So I've really shifted my model to just tell me what happened. Tell me what's going on. Tell me where you're at. And I think that one thing that I try to focus on a lot is that response of, you're not alone.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, we probably do 2 to 3 of these per day. Like, you're not being singled out, and just to let them know. And again, because I think overall, in order for the industry to change, right, if all of the lawyers and all of the PAs and all of the contractors and all of these, industry leaders got together and piled all their money to make a change against the carriers,
Wouldn't make a difference.
It would make a difference. And it's the policyholders that need to be educated. So again, I think, in this platform, you've got to sit there and you've just got to be able to listen, and then go back with the education of, like, this is how it works. And this is methodically kind of the process. And look, the other side of this too, as you know, Jack, is these things take a long time. And, like this woman, as I mentioned earlier, she's been out of her house for 4 months, and she wants an answer now. And so,
Let's go home,
and I
bro.
think you've got to be really honest, right? Like, I just want to let you know, it's currently with a public adjuster, and it's like, I'm not getting anywhere. Well, again, it's been 4 months, and that's not enough time for a public adjuster to adjust the claim.
Yeah.
And so, the next thing is let me get in contact with this adjuster, just kind of see where we're at. And if he is at a standstill, okay, then we'll take it on. But here's the deal: if it comes to me, it's going to take 12 to 18 months starting now. So I don't want to avoid something that could be paid in 2-3 more months. If it comes to me, in full transparency, I don't want them breathing down my neck either.
Oh, I know. So that's the biggest thing I see too. A lot of it's a Facebook problem. Is everybody's a rock star on Facebook, bro? Oh, I got this claim done in 6 weeks. Bullshit. 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 Okay, unless it was a 6-shingle repair job on a doghouse, right? But some of the stuff we see, bro, we work together all the time. I mean, so our first call with the insured, and we stress that a large loss, you're looking at 12 to 18 months.
Right.
If it goes well, I got stuff in Puerto Rico. I'm in trial life from 8 years ago.
Right. And how often did they go well? Right. I mean,
well, so here's the thing: we see the really bad ones. You see the really, really, really bad ones, and it's we're in cleanup mode, right? We're trying to catch up, figure it out. But very rarely do we get a claim up front, and that's a little bit different story because we can control the narrative, walk through it. But you don't get a claim day one.
Right.
I very rarely get a claim day one, and there's already not a mess made, but there's already a pile of stuff there, and people are just they're gassed, man, emotionally gassed.
That's emotionally and mentally, and
dude, financially too.
Absolutely. I mean, a lot of these people are paying, these mitigation companies out of pocket, and we're not talking cheap stuff here. We're talking
Whoa.
30, 40, 50 grand. And
Yes.
I don't have 30, 40, 50 grand just to throw away to a MIT company. And then
I hope you get it back.
House, right?
Yes. And nowhere to live.
Mm-hmm.
So one thing, so is your 4th year?
It's my 4th year.
No shit.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. I thought it feels longer than that, doesn't it?
It's 4 years, yeah.
This is my 35th year.
Mm-hmm.
And so I kind of forget when I started how I forget, right? Because it's so ingrained in me. But since you're fairly new in this, what's the biggest, like if you roll back the time, what's the biggest misconception you had? Like when John called, hey, I want you to be my sales guy, boom, boom, boom. You're thinking, this is going to be cool shit, right?
Mm-hmm.
Piece of cake, boom, boom, boom.
Right.
What's the biggest misconception you had then compared, like what you thought and then reality where it really is? Can you like one or two, three things?
Yeah, I think first off, I think it's the turnaround time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like the misconception is, hey, we can get this done quickly and this is going to be fast and we're going to be aggressive and we're going to get this done. But like what we've learned with certain carriers is that they don't care how long they have it. And in full transparency, they don't care if they have to pay attorney's fees. They don't care if they have to pay interest. And so, if we've got 1,000 claims and half of those people go out and then, get denied, half of those people are then going to go get help by half of the industry who's actually educated and knows what to do.
Yeah.
And so again, what I've really, the misconception is that I think there's so many fly by night contractors, lawyers, PAs, and they steer this process in a direction and they educate the client on unrealistic expectations. And so as I mentioned, when I sit down and I have these conversations with these clients, I always say, okay, here's the worst news. This is going to take a long time.
Yeah.
And look, what I've in the beginning of this, it was like, how do I get these claims in the door? How do I get these claims in the door?
Yeah.
And now setting that standard on the front end, yes, it is. Oh man, that's a really long time. I don't really know if I want to deal with that, but it's something that, in 8, 10, 12 months, I don't have to have that hard conversation. And why is this taking so long? Again, just setting expectations, I think, is the most important thing.
And having them listen to it. You have to reinforce those every once in a while because people do get emotionally tapped on this stuff, man.
As I would too.
Oh, God,
right?
dude.
I haven't, thank goodness, I haven't had to deal with a loss before this job, right? It was like, what's my insurance bill? Okay, well, that premium's too high for me, and I didn't know. What are they doing? They're, my deductible.
Yeah, I want more deductible. I want less coverage.
So again, it's just like sign. People just don't know, right? And so, it's getting away from these big carriers that are pumping dollars and money into this marketing.
Well, you know what I've learned? If you're advertising, don't use their insurance. If you've heard of their name and can name their spokesperson, don't buy that insurance because they're the ones that are the biggest problem.
Right, no doubt.
It's a car wash for them, bro.
No doubt.
They don't care at all. By the way, people. So we kind of got in this a little. So you guys, you get the stuff that's a problem, right? We get the stuff that's a problem, but you guys really get the stuff that's a problem. The Daly Blacks and the Merlins of the world and these big firms. So there's a lot of horror stories. Are you ever appalled by the stuff you get from like PAs and like all the stuff that they set up for failure, and then it's your fault, right?
It's always our fault.
Right.
It's always also.
So I don't want you naming names until after, but can you give me some scenarios that you've seen that like we created our own mess? When I say we, the PAs of the world.
Right. Yeah. So there's a lot of that, right? And I think one thing that we're seeing a lot in the industry is you can have an adjuster's license. You can also be an appraiser. And then, so we'll get these claims. And, I took on 100+ claims when I first started for a hurricane in Louisiana. And I had 2 contracts for one client where it was an appraisal contract and there was also a PA contract. And it was like, which one's going to pay more? And so
Same person?
Same person. Same person. And look, when it's in litigation, all of this stuff is discoverable. Oh, yeah. And so, when we get all these documents, we assess the loss, we look at it, and it's like, hey, by the way, you're breaking the law. Wow. And, and then you have, these kind of side contracts, if you will, and, based, whatever, loss fees are capped at 10% or whatever it is. And then all of a sudden it's like, well, I want this, right? And then when claims get to settling, right, the question at this point is, and look, it's not, I don't think it's any public adjuster's fault that they couldn't get the thing done, right? The carriers made their decision that we're not going to get this. And
Sometimes we can't get there, even though we're supposed to get there. We need a different voice in the room.
no doubt, absolutely. But when it comes to settlement time, right, clients are so upset with the public adjuster, whether it's lack of communication or whatever it was, even if they did the best that they possibly could and they still didn't get a solution, then it's like, hey, Daly and Black, what did you guys settle it for? Right. And so, they want that number, right? Legally, we don't represent them, right? We represent the client, but they're looking for that to say, okay, well, then my fee is going to be X because it's at 10%. And that's where stuff gets really hairy for us. We see a lot of contracts that are not legal. We see a lot of misrepresentation, if you will. And look, and I think that the hard part for us is, and one thing that I've really loved about John, and again, he's one of my best friends, but he told me in the beginning, he said, look, we don't have a lot of really hard conversations between the two of us, but he said, and excuse my French, but he said, if I ever hear that you are taking kickbacks, you are fucking done.
Sure.
And it was one of those moments I remember I was sitting in a coffee shop in Houston, and I was like, oh, this is real shit. And he said, look, because if you do this and we get caught doing it, it's my law license and it's my livelihood. It's not yours. And so, and cleaning up a lot of messes coming from, a lot of different firms and other sales guys, right? Yeah. I had a conversation yesterday with a contractor, and they do he does a lot of stuff in Dallas-Fort Worth. And he says, look, we'll hit, a hurricane, or we'll hit a big hailstorm, or whatever the case is, and he'll go sign 50 claims, but 25 of those are being, their deductibles are being paid for by other contractors.
Well, that's illegal in Texas.
Absolutely. And so again, you just, there's so much going on. And I think that the hard part too is there's not really anybody policing this stuff. Yes, there's SIU but that's the trouble.
So my philosophy on that is, and that's the reason I started United Claims Professionals, which thank you for your sponsorship, by the way. I have a theory. A lot of people don't agree with me until our industry gets our own shit together, and we self-police, and we get the good people going, and we start shredding the bad people. And let's face it, every industry has good and bad. I don't care.
Yeah.
Trashmen, Home Depot, PAs, attorneys, property management, there's good and bad in all of us, right? In every industry. But the problem is PAs can screw people over so easily, right? I can get $1 million check in the mail today, deposit it, and then leave. And there's nothing you can do, or the carrier can do, or the insurer can do. It then happens. There's got to be a way that we start self-policing the industry so we're all better. Because what will happen is we start getting our act together, and we're cleaner, and we're even if we're 1% or 2% more respected, that's going to create a little bit of better dialogue. And I think part of the problem we're having is, all attorneys are ambulance chasers, PAs are used car salesmen. That's the narrative anyway. And the problem is a lot of us are.
Right. Sure.
Right? So, and we really got to do a better job as an industry to self-educate, self-promote, bring awareness, raise the bar of the industry. And until we take that seriously, and we're not worrying about the next paycheck, or we're not trying to create a shortcut over here, there's rules in place for a reason, right? I'm not a big, the less government, the better for me.
Sure.
However, there's got to be a speed limit, and there's got to be this and got to be that. And if there's not, it's chaos, right? And the problem is, and I'm a good example of this, I think, we do things as well as we can. We make mistakes all the time, bro.
Sure.
But our compliance is great. Our contracts are in line. We spend a lot of money doing that, and we still have bumps in the road.
Sure. And
there's no easy way, but it's much easier. I go to bed every night. We may have fucked stuff up. We didn't do it intentionally, and we're going to be okay because we didn't do it. A lot of stuff is just done intentionally to make a quick buck and make a extra dollar, and it's nobody pays the long game in this business.
Right. Yeah, one thing that you said is self-educate, and so I really agree with that. And one thing that I've shifted personally, and I think that would be helpful not only I think to everyone is we've emphasized on education in general to clients. So, when we had Hurricane Barrel in Houston, 7/8/24, and it was, to me, that was a perfect opportunity to go out and connect with civic clubs and civic associations and host town halls. And just, this wasn't like, hey, come send me all your claims, but this is the process and here's how it's going to go. And here's when you should, decide if you want to go to a public adjuster or go to a lawyer. How hairy can it get?
And a lot of claims do get handled properly by the carrier.
Sure.
They get paid fine, no problem at all. Boom, boom, boom.
Right.
That happens more than we probably know and want to admit to.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. And look, so I don't want to sit here and, we're not going to bash the carrier, because a lot of the times too, as we mentioned earlier, and we said this, there's good ones and there's bad ones on all sides. Yeah. One thing that I am seeing a little bit more is some of these third-party adjusters are going out and they're writing out estimates, and they will then communicate to the policyholder that's, hey, you're going to get A, B, and C, and you were rightfully owed. But then they submit that to the carrier and they say, hey, you need to shave that down. Yeah. You need to shave that down. But they're communicating that to the clients.
So that's the problem. So back in my day, right, we get a call. I was a restoration contractor in my previous life. We go get a call. Hey, house fire, da-da-da-da. I would run out there. I'd meet the adjuster in their van. We'd walk it, and he'd write me a check. And we would start, right? Because that dude in the van worked for the company and had full authority to get that claim going.
Right.
However, it's different now, man. And the problem is a lot of people we're meeting on site are independent. They have no authority. They can't do any checks, da-da-da. And they're glorified picture taker. And I think that's really harming the industry horribly.
Right.
Horribly. A good independent adjuster is worth their weight in gold. They know what it looks like. They know the damage. They can scope it out. They can make a deal with the contractor, get it done. Everybody's happy, man. That's going away. Yeah. It's a cost control for the carrier.
It's definitely going away.
Yeah. And it's probably helping their bottom line, the carrier's bottom line. And that's all unfortunately, that's what they really care about. And I think a lot of the customer service is going away. But the problem is they're getting away with it. Because they're getting away with it.
Well, they're getting away with it too, right? Because the carrier's the ones that are signing these third-party checks, and then if they don't do what they say that they're going to do, then all of a sudden they're out of work. And so,
And they control the lobbyists, and they control the Department of Insurances.
Carriers win again.
Yeah. Here's the thing, man. I'm for profit. I want Daly Black to be for profit. I want State Farm and Farmers to be for profit. I would like some element of ethics and morals, however.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Throw me a bone, bro.
Right.
Yep. Let's talk a little bit about, United Claims Professionals is a nonprofit we started 2.5 years ago. You guys were one of the first to jump on board. Yep. We appreciate your sponsorship, your membership, your passion behind it, and it's all about raising the bar. It's all about education, man, and it's hard. And I think we're one of the first ones to do it, and I'm pretty proud of that. We have an event coming up in Dallas. When's this?
August in Dallas. We're going to be at Andretti's. We're going to go in. We're just going to try to educate folks on UPPA laws. When it's time to go. One thing that we see so much of is, I've got 2 in Colorado right now, and the statute of limitations is like 2 weeks, and these clients are like freaked out because they've been educated by it was the contractor on like, hey, we can keep fighting this. And look, I think there are brilliant contractors out there.
Yeah, but
they don't necessarily understand what they're up against.
Yeah, so people really think they throw an appraisal and the statute of limitations gets extended, and it doesn't.
That's correct.
And a lot of people think if you're fighting the claim, the statute of limitations goes for, and it doesn't. We see claims all the time like you do, man. Hey, I think we tried to send you guys one a couple months ago. We had we get it, and we had 10 days. We're like, oh, shit.
Yep.
What's going
Right.
You're cooked, man.
Yep.
So the UPP thing, the UPPA thing, I agree and I disagree at the same time with. I'm a big advocate of staying in anybody's lane. We all have a purpose. Roofers and contractors are worth their weight in gold in the claims process. And 99% of them are great, and it's awesome. However, I don't have a license to put a roof on. I don't know how to install a sink. That's not my thing. And the problem is, like you're saying, is all these lines are getting crossed and weaved in and it's becoming a problem. And Texas and a lot of other states are cracking down.
Right.
And we got to educate. So I think our job is to educate our roofer partners and our roofing vendors and our construction guys. Hey, man, here's the rules.
Right.
We don't like them. Those are the fucking rules.
Yeah. Yeah. And unfortunately, again, even if we don't like them, we still got to follow the rules. Like I don't like going 60 miles an hour, but if I break that law and I get in trouble, like that's just the way it goes.
I mean, you can go 65 or 66 sometimes and not get busted, but at the end of the day, there's laws for a reason, right? And one thing I've learned is insurance companies are reactive. They're reacting because of the chaos created from the other side. Appraisal, we're going to talk about that at our event. That's part 2 of that. I think appraisal is getting abused now. Everybody's throwing everything on appraisal.
Everything.
Everything's going to appraisal. $83 million claim. We're going to appraisal. Oh my God, bro.
Yeah.
That's not what that's for.
No, not at all. I mean, again, I get calls all the time, and actually I had one yesterday, and it was the same deal. And she's like, "Well, we're in appraisal, and there's a $20,000 delta, right? And it's a fire loss. It's completely gutted." And I said, let me. I just want to back up. Have you been educated on the appraisal process? And she says, well, what do you mean? So I break it down to her, and I'm sitting here and I say, okay, well, if you get 2 signatures on this, at that point, it's binding. It's done. And she says, what?
Yeah.
I had no idea. So, and so the question to her was, if you take the, even if you get what you think you're owed in your appraiser's opinion, are you going to be built back? No. Okay, so why are we having this discussion, right? And I think, again, it's great that she's on the phone, but it goes back to one thing that I believe is the industry is, in the 4 years that I've done this, the industry changes all the time. One thing that we saw in Texas, right, during the beginning of this is that, if it goes to litigation, we work on it for 8 months, and the carrier decides that they want to go ahead and invoke appraisal, attorney's fees go away. Well, they still have a signed contract with us. Right?
I know.
It's still 40%, but nobody knows that. And so again, it's
that's a weapon for the carrier, by the way.
Well, so they're looking at it and they're saying, okay, where do we go here? Where are we going to save the most?
If we're going to lose, I'm going to throw an appraisal and no offense, screw the.
It's the policyholder that gets screwed.
Yes.
And so again, I think going back to it,
and you're the bad guy then, bro.
We're always the bad guy, unfortunately. And look, I think that what I've learned is, we are the last resort.
That's it.
Right. And, I think that there's claims that get denied or get underpaid. And I think that they should go to a lawyer at that point. But again, it's our duty, right? And that's why we're hosting this event in August, is to educate folks.
Yes.
Because again, the laws constantly change. And look, and as we were discussing earlier, like, look at Kentucky.
Oh my God.
Right? Like,
yeah. So UCP every Monday, Galen Hare, who's on our board, he sends an email out through his office. There's 578 pending legislation things in the country right now, today, have to do with property insurance. That's over 10 per state, bro. And 85% of those are coming against us. There's only 15% that are pro-insured, right?
Right.
That's the problem, and it's really frustrating. So one thing I've learned the last several years is it's all political motivated and money motivated. And the policy the policy's there, but it's not really the thing anymore, bro. It's about P&L statements and statutes and laws and all these things. And everybody wants to pound their chest. Oh, we need all this. You got to join. You got to help. I don't care who you join. You got to help. APA, UCP, NAPIA. Join somebody to help, man, because, dude, it's trillions to one. Billions.
Again, as we mentioned earlier, and as you just can't compete. You cannot compete. But I think, again, I go back to it, and I've said this 3 or 4 times, but guys got to get educated.
Yes.
You've got to get educated. You've got to take the time. And look, that's the one thing I think that's interesting about our industry is there are a lot of slow times. And, and one thing I went into one of my attorney's offices the other day, and I was like, man, I just feel like it's slow. And she's like, enjoy it. Enjoy it right now. But also take that time to go out and educate people. This isn't like vacation
in
time.
ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, what's changing? I mean, we get within our firm email, we get opinions all the time on what's coming out, what's new, how can we fight this? And I think it's very important. Like, so it's not only educating the policyholders, it's not educating our industry, but it's also educating within.
Well, so that Kentucky thing went down. That's a whole other podcast, by the way. We'll hit that. But I got a lot of like, well, you know what? It's not Ohio. I don't care. It's not Florida. I don't care. It's not Oklahoma. I don't care. Here's the thing, bro. They picked Kentucky for a reason. Low-hanging fruit. Test run. We won. It got outvoted. That law against PAs, 85-1, bro. 85-1. So guess what? South Carolina's probably going, work there. Interesting. Boom. Let's go to Georgia. Boom. Let's go to Wyoming. Boom. Next thing you know, PAs are getting outlawed, right? And so I can direct solicit. I can go knock on somebody's door and you can't. And that's why there's a symbiotic relationship here. If that goes away, man, it's gonna be a free for all. We're the second to last wall.
Right.
You know? And a lot of us are pretty damn good at this. And man, there's not gonna be a lot of. So what baffles me is, you know, the industry's done such a poor job of educating what everybody knows what attorney is, man. We all know what attorneys do. That's cool. I get it. Nobody knows the hell we do. And that's the biggest thing I see. Like a PA, what the fuck is that?
Right.
You know?
Right.
So it's not in my backyard syndrome has to stop. And that's why this education stuff that we're doing together and our nonprofit's doing is important, because if we get one and then two, even if we're 1% better, it's still billions of dollars back towards the insurance, you know?
Yep.
So that's all it takes.
Yeah. And I think too, like, you know, one thing that we focus on too, when we go out and host lunch and learns and all that stuff, like, I want to know questions. It's not, and so when you're being educated, I think it's having a streamlined process of here's a hurdle that we ran into. Here's what do we do in this instance?
Yeah.
And having those conversations, because again, in the 4 years that I've done this, what could have, you know, potentially been a stupid question is completely relevant.
No, it's probably a state law.
Right.
Somewhere.
Right, yeah.
Like, oh, okay. Yeah.
Because it could change like that. You know, Florida's a great example.
Oh, yeah.
Right. I mean,
Florida was a gravy train for us for years. Now it's like we got 3 claims there. Nobody wants to do anything.
Yep.
We're almost out of time. Dude, I give you the insurance industry magic wand, and you are chief insurance guy of the world today. Yeah. You get one wish, bro, and you could change one thing about this industry. It's a hard question, I know, but you get one shot at this, bro, and you could change one thing about it. What would you change? And there's no wrong answers. There's stupid answers, Sean, but no wrong answers. Great question.
That's a really good question. And so, again, as we've continued to hit this education topic, I think that when somebody renews or signs up for a policy, they need to be educated from the carrier on what exactly all of these things mean, specifically endorsements, deductibles, cosmetic exclusions, all of these, you know, the things that really hurt the claim in the long run.
The little writing.
Right. And in the event, because look, you know, again, as I mentioned earlier, before I did this, it was, what's my premium? Oh, okay, I want it cheaper. And then all of a sudden it's cheaper. And I'm like, okay, that's great. But I didn't read all of the fine. So again, I think that whether it's, you know, in the event when you sign up, when you pay for a policy, you're paying for coverage. And to me, right, and where we're at, I don't think, you know, hardly anybody reads, right, anymore.
So I barely read mine, and I do this every day for a living.
Totally. And so again, I think that there's got to be something. If I could change one thing, it would be a video, right? Very similar to if you ever do defensive driving, right? You've got to.
I have no idea what you're talking about, Sean.
you do the 3-part course of what it is that, you know, and it's got to be, you know, it's airtime. And look, there's people that go hire people to do it before, but it's like, but then that's your loss, that's your fault, yes. Right? So again, I think there's got to be some sort of video platform that says, this is what your coverage means. Take this number of take this percent, all of those things. And again, that they have to watch that before. And
they can't buy the damn thing until they watch that video and check that box and then run their credit card.
Right.
So the agents, yeah, I mean, so dude, you and I are, that was my fucking answer as well.
Really?
Agent.
Damn, that makes me feel good.
Yeah, man.
4 years.
Because at the end of the day, it's buyer beware, right?
Right.
Because we are constricted by the policy. I cannot do, if there's a cosmetic exclusion, ACV only, roof surface schedule, and it's $1 million roof, and all these things come to play, the best I can do is get you $83,000 out of them. And so you're basically self-insuring the roof. And the problem we see is 90% of the people are like, what are you talking about?
What does ACV mean?
Yeah, what's roof surface schedule? What's depreciation? What's this cosmetic exclusion? I have this huge metal roof. I got dents in it. You know, and I agree. So anything we could do as an industry, it's 10 minutes, man. And these multi-trillion-dollar organizations can certainly. We'll produce a video when we're done about what to look for in your policy, right? It's not complicated, but I mean, there's a motive to the madness there, right? They don't fucking care. It's all renewals, right?
Right.
It's insurance companies are money. They grab through their investment firms. That's what they take their premiums and they buy property and they reinvest, which God bless them, awesome. But dude, you know, educate the policyholders because they're the ones suffering, bro, not us. You know, we're fine, but these poor people, man, it just divorces, mental illness, it all. I mean, you see the emotional tag it takes on these guys. Not great.
Yes.
So good magic wand, bro.
Good.
How do people get a hold of you, Sean?
So, you know, one thing that, you know, we do a little differently at Daly Black is, you know, I'm obviously not a lawyer. My job, I get paid to answer the phone.
But you play one on TV.
I do. I do. So I'm in Houston. That's where our headquarters is. That's but we have offices all over the country. The best thing for me is just call me by phone, 713-443-8946. Again, if I don't answer, I get paid to answer the phone and reply with text. I will get back to you.
A little background on that. We use, there's no secret, we use 4 or 5 firms around the country, and you're one of them. And the reason we use Daly Black is because of you. My guys love you. You're on it. You respond. You tell us no when it's appropriate to be told no. And we love that because we don't want to waste the insurance time, our time, or your time. And I can honestly tell you, out of the 14 times we've worked together, we've gotten checks 14 times, which is important because at the end of the day, we want to make that insured where they need to be, right? So,
Right.
Bro, we appreciate. Thank you for UCP support. We're looking for the event in August. Please, dear God, good luck on your run thing for ungodly reasons why you're doing that, but you're a better man than I am. Congratulations on all your kids. That's the cool part to all this, bro. Believe me. I mean, my kids are. It's crazy watching them blossom and do cool stuff, man. This other stuff we do is stuff. It's not really important.
Right. Right. Well, thank you. I appreciate you having me.